Hey guys, this is Lance with Farmore, and today we're going to be talking about how we use the Aputure 1200D to help expose for window light in one of our recent productions. Let's get into it. So for this particular project, we were tasked with filming a handful of interviews for a client of ours. We chose to travel light with only the camera support gear and opted instead to partner with a local grip company based in Cleveland, Ohio for Grip and Electric, as we knew we'd have plenty of firepower on standby in case we needed it. When we arrived and scouted, it became clear that we made the right call, as we really only had one viable option to film in. The only downside to the location we picked was that we were forced to shoot towards windows during the middle of the day. Knowing we had to expose for windows, we opted to utilize the Aputure 1200D paired with an Aputure 600D, punched through a full silk to create a nice, soft key light that still had the punch we needed to properly expose our talent. We had on the medium hyper reflector on the 1200D to help focus the light just a bit more, while the 600D was paired with the standard reflector it comes with. These were both shooting through an 8x8 full silk diffusion fabric. We actually auditioned a few different diffusions and found the full silk to be the best fit for the look we were going for. We wanted to create a large, evenly dispersed light source for our key light. To help create contrast in the frame, we flagged off the key side windows to cut down on ambient light. This helps add directionality to our lighting and make it look motivated, like the light was coming from an adjacent window. We also worked a negative fill around the lights and on the fill side to provide additional contrast. When shooting with so much natural light in a room, the trick is to gain back as much control as possible so you can shape where you want the light to fall, and flagging off windows and adding negative fill helps achieve this. To create additional depth for our talent to stand out, we had two 4-foot quasars with a grid on them to control the spill. These were rigged in an L-shaped pattern, with one acting as a backlight and one acting as a side light to fill in the shadow side of our talent. Traditionally, we tend to prefer a bit more contrast when we film interviews, but the client specifically asked for these to look bright and welcoming, which is why we opted to utilize a fill light. To round out the look, we rigged up an additional 600D to act as a kicker. This was bounced into a small mirror our gaffer had on hand, as we didn't have a way to arm out the 600D safely above talent. The extra pop from this light added a lot, and I'm glad we took the additional time to rig it up. Lastly, we utilized an Aputure 60X to add a pop of light to the background, to help it stand out and look a little bit more natural. Without this light, there was a bit too much contrast between our talent and the background. So here are my takeaways. What impressed us the most was how much output the 1200D had compared to the 600D. Even shooting through full diffusion and backed away from the talent 10 feet or so in a very bright room, we still had enough output to properly expose for skin tones. We really only needed the additional 600D to wrap the light a bit more around our talent, but 85 to 90% of the light you see is coming from the 1200D alone. The 1200D was also virtually silent, and there was very little fan noise impeding on the sound quality. This was huge because it meant we could bring the light much closer to talent than with traditional high output lights. Having most of our lights on Aputure's Sidus Link app was also incredibly helpful because it meant we could do minute adjustments to things like color temperature and intensity quickly and easily. The best part was we were able to plug everything into the available power in the room, so we didn't have to run long extension cables to various parts of the building. This allowed us to close all the doors to help with sound quality as well. Overall, we are really pleased with what we were able to achieve with the 1200D. Having a light with this much output that's color accurate and runs virtually noiseless opens the door to so many creative opportunities that, in the past, would have been very difficult to achieve. Let us know in the comment section what you think of the look we achieved, and if you have any additional questions we didn't cover in this video. Thanks for checking out our BTS breakdown. Remember to like and subscribe, as we'll have a lot more content coming up. See you on the next one.